I never wanted to go into advertising. I studied marketing actually at university, and I always said to myself, I never want to be part of the advertising people because they had kind of a bad reputation. And I knew I wanted to do something in interactive marketing, but not advertising. And I ended up with the agency that I'm with right now, which is Argonaut and G2, and I started off as a project manager doing online projects, and it basically just turned into being an advertising agency now. But I'm very happy about being here. And so it's still my first job that I'm in. No, not really. It's funny. The university I studied at, there's about 800 students that start with you together in the first semester, and they all doing business administration or economics. And what it does was I saw a lot of people with blue shirts walking around that had gone through an apprenticeship at banks and now wanted to do business administration. And basically, what that taught me throughout the whole like all of the studies that I was doing was that I didn't want to go into that kind of industry. I wanted to be somewhere else. So it didn't really destroy anything. It was much more, it reminded me on a day-to-day basis of where I wanted to be and where I didn't want to be. It's interesting you're asking this because I had to look at the bills actually to remember of what's on them, and there really isn't anything on there except for some buildings, I think. So I think the European Union is a lot more about its people and its cultures. So it would have to be some, not architecture or some currency or whatever there is, but it would probably have to be something around the people and the cultures and something that makes them so special. I never read the book and I never saw the movie. I just saw the trailers and I heard what people told me about it, and I guess it's just, I don't know. It probably shows an image of ad agencies in the 80s, which actually might resemble quite an honest picture of how it was back then. I think the industry has matured quite a bit ever since then, just from what I believe. So I guess if you compare that to today's advertising industry, there's a lot of images that would resemble themselves right now. I don't think it's a campaign, but there's one thing that, and I saw the other interview, and I can't go back 60 years. I don't know what advertising was doing back then, but if there's a brand that I think is very, very good at what they're doing, it's probably Red Bull. Because I don't think any brand has ever claimed so many territories like what Red Bull has done, and they've stayed true to what they are, and they've basically, I mean, if you just think about the Red Bull Air Race, they've taken a sport that wasn't existing in anybody's public opinion or anybody's public mind, and they've put it on primetime television. You don't know an air race, you just know the Red Bull Air Race. I mean, they own a Formula One team. They have somebody jump from 36 kilometers high up and do like a soap documentary around it for 6 months. All of these things, they just perfectly fit to the whole image of what Red Bull is all about. And I mean, they're able to keep a price premium, which is incomparable to any of the competing brands, and still everybody's happy to pay for it because they know what they get. They get entertainment from Red Bull. Well, it's an easy one. None, because I don't do campaigns. No, I don't think it's fair to blame a campaign of somebody else, because I think you're always doing within the framework of what you're being given. You do the best that you can. Obviously, sometimes things don't come out, or they're being ridiculed in the market, or they don't achieve the objectives that they're supposed to in terms of product sales or image values. But I don't think there's any specific one where I'd say, oh, I'm really ashamed of this. Easy PC. I'm in account management and consulting, so I don't have to do all this fancy Photoshop work, and so I stick with what's compatible most. I actually counted. I have 3 email accounts, but what I think is interesting is that I hardly ever use them except for official communications, like when I do official communications with clients of ours. All the rest, all the private and which is non-public communication is basically done through either LinkedIn or Xing or Facebook or Twitter or Skype. So it's much more the platforms that I'm using now these days, not email anymore. I actually went to the movies last night and I saw Inception, the new one from with Leonardo DiCaprio about dreams and dreams and dreams. And I was very much intrigued by the whole story architecture of the whole movie because it's extremely complex and it has a lot of love to detail. All the little story strings that it starts off with, it all picks them up later on and all brings them to an end at the very end. And so that was a great movie, and I can only recommend it to everybody to really go see it. Even my wife, who doesn't like popcorn or that kind of action movies, she was intrigued by it as well. Although it is, you have to pay attention to what's happening. And aside from that, we're not watching movies that much anymore, but we're big into TV series. We're watching a lot of what's coming out of the States right now, one of which is Breaking Bad, for example. So if you want to get really dark, cynic humor, Breaking Bad probably is one of the ones. Or if you just want to have light entertainment, you just watch Entourage. That's just 30 minutes of laughing throughout every episode. One band that I really love lately, and the band is called Pendulum. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're Australian guys that actually live in Great Britain now. They've never made it to mainland Europe for any kind of concerts, really. And now they're actually coming to Berlin in October, and I will miss them, unfortunately. But that is probably the one from all the music and all the bands I like, which is currently the one I like most, because it's a real band playing drum and bass music. Aside from the usual, the word of persuasion and getting invisible and all these things, and I think if there was a superpower that you're not growing old, I guess, or that you grow old only at will and not if you really have to, that would probably be a pretty good one. So you can just stay whatever age you're at for as long as you want to be. It is about the superpower because it's he never grew old, probably. I think that's, or he never grew up, something along those lines, that that you keep a youthful spirit, that you keep something like playfulness and everything. And I think that's the most important thing, and not grow bitter about things in life.